Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl, the Brooke Ashley, and today we are here to discuss The Real Housewives of Potomac, Season 6, Episode 9. This was a good episode. I have quite a lot to say because quite a few scenes had me just a bit annoyed. So without further ado, let's just jump right on into it because we don't have a minute to spare. We start off with a short scene of Ray and Karen. They're at home in their room and Ray's rubbing on Karen's feet. I was like, do we have to see this? Karen and Ray are just so annoying to me, and I honestly feel like this needs to be Karen's last season. I do not care about this vow renewal. I feel like Karen is grasping at straws because she has no storyline. I also feel like these reality TV vow renewals are the kiss of death. All I'm saying is there seems to be a pattern, and the pattern is that a lot of these TV vow renewals seem to end up in divorce. So now we move on to Mia, and she's in her closet. She's picking out an outfit because remember that she's going to be going to lunch with her mom. So while she's picking out an outfit, she calls up her husband to come help her and give his opinion on what she should wear. So Gordon comes in the closet, they're looking at outfits, and then they go into their bedroom. They start discussing the lunch with Mia's mom, and Mia expresses how nervous she is. She doesn't want her mom to be upset by anything. She wants her mom to know how proud she is of her and her sobriety. And she just really wants there to be some clarity between them. So Gordon interjects and he comforts her by saying that he doesn't think that the lunch is going to be as bad as Mia is expecting it to go. He has faith that they're going to be just fine, and he's really optimistic. And I really like how Gordon has been very supportive of Mia on her journey to reconnect with her mom. I like how he's always encouraging her, like, it's gonna be okay, you're gonna be fine, it's not gonna be as bad as you think. And that's always really nice to hear because who wants to feel anxious or nervous about something, especially something as big as this? Now we move on to Wendy and her family. They're all at home. We see her kids playing around, and I love Wendy's kids. They are so cute, especially the baby girl, Cameron. Like, she is adorable. Every time I see Wendy, I'm like, okay, I want to see your kids though, sis, so like, bring them on. So we see Wendy and Eddie in their bedroom, and they get to talking about the whole Williamsburg trip. And you can tell she's getting really upset all over again just thinking about it. Wendy goes on to say how it's beyond ironic that the person with the most volatile relationship in that group would come to her about some fake rumors. And we all know that Ashley and Michael's marriage is a hot, raggedy mess. Eddie goes on to say how these are all lies, and at the end of the day, that ain't him. Okay? He says to drag me into this nastiness is just downright mean. He then goes on to say how they all know their story and what he went through to try to get with her. So why would he go through all that to now cheat on her? Remember that Eddie's family doesn't speak to him. They haven't met any of their kids because they did not want him to marry Wendy. So it's a very dramatic love story, I do have to say. I like Eddie. He seems like a good guy. I don't think he's cheating. But let me just say, there are a lot of men who fought for the woman that they married and then they go and cheat on her. It happens all the time. So it's not completely far-fetched. And I was reading the blogs last week and they were saying that Eddie was unfollowing all these IG models and strippers. So I said, that's kind of suspicious. Like, why are you unfollowing all these people now? Wendy goes on to say how they didn't understand her reaction because they've never experienced a love that her and Eddie share, and they never will. So Wendy, while I understand that you're pissed, you have every right to feel upset at Gizelle and Robyn and Ashley, but just tone it down with all that. My man would never, he went through so much to be with me, and they'll never experience that kind of love. I said, now girl, honey, you can be married today and divorced tomorrow. You never know what tomorrow will bring. That's all I'm going to say on that. A lot of the women in this particular franchise, they really do struggle with the slut shaming and the weaponizing love and marriage in each other's faces, especially if they're married or partnered up and somebody on the cast isn't or was cheated on. They like to sit up there and throw it in each other's faces when they're upset or when they feel like someone else's foundation is about to crumble. But let me not get off on a tangent. Let's just move right on along to the next scene. So now we move on to Robyn pulling up at Gizelle's house. I was screaming when Robyn was trying to open the door and she couldn't open it. It was broken and Gizelle was sitting up there cackling. I said, now Gizelle, sis, you just moved into this house. I thought everything was brand new. Why is your door broken? So they sit down, they put their headsets on, they have their mics all ready, and they start recording for their podcast. Gizelle says in her confessional that when they first started their podcast, they had no idea what they were doing and how she didn't have any expectations for their podcast called Reasonably Shady. She then lets us know that they have actually been signed with iHeartRadio. So I said, now you know iHeartRadio is a big deal. I know those checks must be pretty good, all right? And Gizelle and Robyn, please use these iHeartRadio checks for a stylist. Please. Please, I'm begging you. So they turn their mics on, and the topic for the day is cheating. Makeups to breakups. So Gizelle starts it off by saying that she read some statistics that 22% of men cheat. And then she goes on to say that she read a stat where when a man cheats once, there's a 350% chance that he's going to cheat again. So then Gizelle makes a joke and is like, God damn, I wish somebody would have told me these stats when I was going through it 2 years ago. I said, now Gizelle, you didn't need anybody to tell you about Jamal. You were married to him, for Christ's sake. You knew how he was. You know Jamal. I also thought it was funny when the producer asked Gizelle if she would have done anything differently 2 years ago. And Gizelle was like, nothing. I wouldn't have done anything differently. And you can tell she's being sarcastic while she's saying it. Then we hear the producer tell Gizelle, well, 2 years ago, you were with Jamal. And you said that 2 years ago, you wish that somebody would have told you. So Gizelle goes on to laugh it off. And she's like, I was joking, okay? Like, you stay with the man long enough, he cheating on you, okay? And I was just like, wow, that's kind of sad. So now we see Gizelle saying that, listen, if it's a one-time thing, like you were at a bachelor party and stuff got crazy and you just lost your mind, I can deal with that. I can get over that. But if it's a constant thing, then no. And here's Brooke's opinion when it comes to cheating. Absolutely the F not. I don't care if it was a one-time thing. I'm out the door.
Oh! Shout out to everybody. I had fun.
I gotta be good.
In the words of my girl Fantasia Barrino, if you don't want me, then don't talk to me, okay? Go ahead and free yourself. Go ahead to someone else. Because I'm not going to sit up here and have someone disrespect me like that. And I'm always shocked when I hear people say, well, it's not a deal breaker to me. I can get through it. Like, even if I cheated back, I would still be pissed that you cheated on me in the first place. So when it comes to certain things, I'm very black and white. I'm not somebody where there's like a gray area and I can find some understanding. I just can't. That's me personally. I'm very much one and done about certain things. And I found it really interesting but not surprised that Gizelle has a sort of cavalier attitude about, well, you know, if it's a one-time thing, it's cool, I can get past it. I'm like, no, ma'am. And I know that we're all different strokes for different folks, but for me, no. You're not going to cheat on all this and think that I'm going to be cool with you. I can just let it slide. I can't. And I always feel like I'm in the minority when the whole cheating discussion comes up, because I have a lot of associates and friends who feel like cheating isn't the end of the world, and they've dealt with it, and they feel like, oh, well, you know, guys will be guys, or it was only a one-time thing, or do you really feel like a man is going to be faithful to you the whole time you're married, all that stuff? And I'm sitting there like, what are y'all saying to me right now? So I always feel like I'm the only one who feels like cheating is a complete deal breaker. And if I ever find out that I've been cheated on, I am out the door. Let me know if I'm the only one who feels this way. Let me know if there are a few of y'all out there who are like, absolutely not, Brooke. If somebody cheats on me, they can get to stepping, because I'm not going to sit up here and deal with it. Let me just know down in the comments that I'm not crazy. Robyn says in her confessional that she's not surprised that Gizelle and Jamal are no longer together because the infidelity and the drama was just too much. And again, Gizelle knew what she was getting herself into a second time around. So there's not that much sympathy there because Jamal hasn't changed. But again, I digress. So now Robyn goes on to share her story about her situation. She says, me and Juan were married, he cheated, we got divorced, then we rekindled our relationship. She then goes on to say how she was young and dumb, and I said, girl, now you middle-aged and dumb. Because the fact that Robyn has given Juan chance after chance after chance, I mean, I would have been out. Then for Robyn to say, well, if Juan did it again now, I'd be out the door. I said, Robyn, I don't believe you. Your actions across these 6 seasons have shown that you want Juan by hook or by crook. We saw Juan say in front of that camera, season 2, that if it weren't for the kids, he would have been out, and how he just wants to be happy. Like I said in last week's recap, I have always believed that their relationship was very one-sided. It's always been, in my personal opinion, that Robyn likes, loves, and wants Juan way more than he wants her. So she's talking all tough about how she would leave if he tried it again, and how she's mature and she knows that she deserves better and she's worth more. I said, Robyn, do you truly know that? So now Gizelle brings up the whole Wendy situation on the podcast and talks about how she brought it up to her friends and her friend blew up at her. And then they start making some snide remarks about how some women just don't want to know. And it's like, it's not the fact that Wendy didn't want to know. It's just the fact that you didn't have the balls to tell Wendy yourself. You had your minion Ashley do it, which was dead wrong. So Gizelle, I'm going to need you to stop acting as if Wendy just blew up at you for no reason. Now we move on to Ashley and Michael, and they're at a holistic massage specialist. Ashley lets us know that Dylan is having a hard time latching, and because of that, she now has to feed him every hour on the hour at night. And because of it, she has no energy for Michael, and it's negatively affecting their marriage. They head on into the specialist's office, and I was screaming at how Michael was questioning the specialist, and he was like, what are your credentials, and do you have any success stories on all this? Like, how does this work? And the way the specialist was looking at him like, if you don't get the F out of my face and let me do my job, then I know something. And I have to say, when the specialist started massaging Dylan, I was like, oh, that was a cute scene. I'm not even gonna lie. That was really cute. So now the specialist gives the baby back and she's like, he should be just fine. in the next 4 to 5 days, you should start to see some improvements. And then they leave the office. And when I tell you, that specialist had it going on because that baby was knocked out the minute they put him in his car seat. I said, I know that's right. So while they're in the car driving home, Ashley brings up their marriage and their lack of a sex life. She goes on to say, Michael, I really appreciate you being understanding about our lack of intimacy right now. And then she goes on to ask if he's still attracted to her. And this is why I'm a believer in leaving the minute you find out that somebody has cheated on you. Nobody has time to be second guessing themselves, to be doubting themselves, to be wondering if your partner is still attracted to you. Who wants that? So I was watching the Bravo after show after this episode had aired. And side note, that Bravo after show is everything. I think it's just as entertaining as the actual show, but I digress. So anyhow, Ashley was going on about how she still does not trust Michael 100%, and she still has insecurities and doubts every time because she can't seem to fully get over his past indiscretions. I just feel like Michael is not capable of being in a monogamous relationship. I mean, I think he likes how it looks to be a married man, but I don't think that he really wants to fully commit to the role of being faithful 100% of the time. You see what I'm saying? Now we move on to the big lunch between Mia and her mom. They arrive at the restaurant and you can feel the tension and just the awkwardness and the nervousness between the both of them. They sit down, they order 2 limoncellos, and I was shocked that Mia's mom ordered a drink considering her history with drugs. So Mia breaks the ice and she goes on to talk about her daughter Juju and how Juju acts just like her. She's Mia's mini-me. The mom is laughing and she's like, yeah, you know, you get it from your father because your father was the more outgoing one. So now Mia's mom says, when you were little, I would always say, she gets on my nerves. She acts just like her father. I really wanted Mia's mom to elaborate further as to why Mia reminds her so much of the dad. Like, I felt like we didn't really get clear answers. And I also think that that's just so awful for a parent to make a child feel bad if they are similar to the parent that, you know, they no longer are with and can't stand. So Mia goes on to ask her mom, like, Mom, what did my dad do? And her mom is like, I don't want to go down that route. I don't want to talk about it. So then she says, you know that your dad introduced me to drugs, right? And Mia's like, you know, yeah, I know. And this scene, again, was very heartbreaking. It was really tough to watch. I found myself at times just getting really teary-eyed. It was just really, really sad. And when Mia's mom told the story of how Mia got those 3rd-degree burns all over her because she had poured hot oatmeal over herself, and she says, you know, I was at work and I got the call to come home immediately because something happened to you, and your dad was in the basement and he was down with another woman. And it just seemed like the mom still isn't over the heartbreak that she suffered from the dad. Mia's mom then goes on to further say how because of the drugs, she just couldn't do it anymore and he had to go. Then she says, and then 3 days later, I felt like I couldn't live without him and I tried to commit over your dad. Mia says that while this is painful, while they can't change the past, she does feel like this is the first step in their healing and she wants to move forward and have a relationship with her mom. They end the conversation with them saying that they want to do this more often and that they should have done it sooner. I was happy that they were able to end off laughing and in better spirits. I hope that Mia's mom is able to stay on the straight and narrow. I hope that their relationship is able to flourish and grow And I hope that she's able to sort of salvage whatever mother-daughter bond that she can. This scene definitely showed the vulnerable side of Mia. I'm sure that there are a lot of people who can relate to similar situations, and I think that by Mia showing this part of her life, she's helping a lot of people. So I really do wish Mia and her mom all the best, and I hope that they are able to really establish a good relationship going forward. We move on to Karen, and she is at her friend's venue. Her friend has this really cool industrial warehouse, and it's actually going to be the venue where Karen and Ray have their vow renewal. Karen's there to try on some gowns, and we find out that her first gown was $10,000 and it was imported from Turkey. Karen's new best friend Wendy arrives, and I just said it is so funny to me how Karen and Wendy are now attached at the hip. The way Karen treated Wendy like dirt last season, she was sitting up there calling Wendy everything but a child of God, downplaying her 4 degrees, but now they're just the best of friends. And it's only because the rest of the women don't want to film with Karen. So she said, you know what? Let me make it right with Wendy so I can have somebody to film with so that I'm not completely asked out for this season. Now Mia arrives, and did y'all catch the shade that Mia gave when she arrived at the venue? She was like, oh, this is kind of industrial. Karen goes in the back to start trying on her first gown, and Mia and Wendy get to talking about the whole debacle with this fake rumor going around. Wendy says, I feel like I was hit by a Mack truck. And then Mia's like, it's really not fair. You don't talk about people's husbands behind their backs. And Gizelle should have been woman enough to tell Wendy this news to her face. And I said, now Mia, you know I don't normally see it for you, but you are correct there. Gizelle should have absolutely gone to Wendy, woman to woman, instead of having her minion Ashley do it. Karen comes out in her first gown. The gown is ugly. I hated it. I said, Karen, for you to have no taste or no style, it's beyond me. I just thought that the dress was so gaudy, and you could tell that Wendy and Mia weren't feeling it either because they were like, oh, I mean, it's cute. And then Wendy was like, yeah, it's doing something for me. And I was just kind of like, that's not the reaction I want when I come out in my wedding gown. I want you to be blown away when I come out of the dressing room, okay? I don't want to hear cute. I want to hear, wow, like, damn, like, girl, you did that. Like, that's what I want to hear, okay? That's what Karen should want to hear, not just an, it's cute. Karen, listen to me and listen to me good. Saks Fifth Avenue has a fabulous bridal collection. Go there immediately, because these 2 gowns that you were showing in this scene, absolutely not. You have the coin now, honey. These Bravo checks are coming in. La Dame's doing a cute something on Bloomingdale's.com. And you're about to come out with a 3-wick candle.
You know what? This is too much.
You have the money to go to Saks. Go there. Karen comes back out to join them in conversation, and Mia brings up how she was invited to Robyn's birthday dinner, but she noticed that they weren't on the invite. And I was like, Mia, we don't have to do this. You know already that Wendy just told Robyn and Gizelle off. They're no longer friends. Karen, Robyn, and Gizelle have been on the outs for seasons now. So why do you think that Karen or Wendy would be at this dinner? Let's make it make sense. I don't want to go to anybody's birthday dinner that I can't stand. And if it's my birthday, I definitely don't want somebody who I cannot stand at my birthday. So Mia, again, leave it alone. Stop trying to cause trouble. They weren't invited. It is what it is. So Wendy says, look, I'm not surprised. I didn't expect to get an invite. Karen goes on to say how Gizelle is dealing with some pain and some shame, and if she would just own up to it and tell them, then she would offer support. Karen then goes on to say, look, I want you to relay a message to Gizelle from me. Let her know that I'm willing to put everything to the side if she will just say that she regrets using the word death in relation to my husband. I said, Karen, if you were so offended by what Gizelle said, you would have addressed that comment in the season 2 reunion, because that was said in season 2. You know good and damn well that Gizelle was not wishing death on Ray. Period, point blank. Like, let's stop. Now we move on to Candiace. She and Chris are going out to eat for lunch, and they get to talking about how busy the week's about to be because they're going to be shooting Candiace's music video. Chris is telling Candiace about the schedule for the week and how they're going to be shooting the music video backwards. He then goes on to say how he also has some cooking lessons that he's going to be doing during the week of the music video. So Candiace is like, wait, what? Like, I need you here. Like, what if something goes wrong? I just need you to be here. So Chris is like, well, I've already given everybody the call sheet, so everybody else is gonna know what to do. Like, you guys should be just fine. Candiace is visibly stressed and she's really annoyed, and she's like, why do you have to work during this time? And he's like, well, because that's when I was booked. I said, Candiace, you realize how crazy you sound being upset that your husband has a job. Like, you do know that that's a good thing that he has some side gigs that he's going to be doing. And he's not just doing free work for you, right? So now Candiace goes on a tirade about how, once again, Chris is not there to support her, and if something goes wrong, how it's her name and reputation on the line. So now Chris is getting irate himself, and he's like, I volunteered to do this, all right? So you want me to drop all my shit and then ask you for an allowance? Is that what you want? So Candiace is pissed, and she's like, I'm gonna need you to drop the attitude. Now Chris really sets it off by telling Candiace that he's going to play golf this afternoon. So Candiace flips all the way out, and she's like, I will curse you the F out right now. Like, check yourself. Child, Chris storms out of the restaurant. He's like, find someone else to do this shit for free. And baby, when Candiace folded up that napkin and was wiping that tear from her eye, I want Candiace to come out with a line of Kleenex. I think it will be a top seller. And this is no shade because I'm a crier myself. But what I will say is, Candiace, I cannot stand how you and Chris speak to each other when you guys get to arguing. I don't know about y'all, but it takes a lot for me to get to that level where I want to just curse somebody out. And I try to speak to people respectfully, especially a loved one or a boyfriend, because I would not want them to speak to me poorly. All right, so I try to be very cognizant about my tone and what I say. And when she got in the car and he was like, you know, just be quiet because I'm about to curse you out right now, I was like, wow, that's how you speak to your wife? Candiace, if you have any bit of sense, you will end this whole husband-manager dynamic. It has yet to work out for anyone. Mary J. Blige did it, Wendy did it, Kelly Clarkson did it, Star Jones, Sherry Shepherd, the list goes on and on and on, and it has all failed. They are all divorced, paying these men alimony. I think that you need to be smart and really just cut this off and get an actual manager and let your husband be your husband. We get to the final scene of the night, and it is Robyn's birthday dinner. Everybody arrives. Ashley, you need to be sued, because what in the Beetlejuice hell was that? For Ashley to be married to a multi-millionaire dressing the way she does, I do not understand it. Her and Gizelle are tied for the worst dress on this franchise. Ashley put that outfit on and said, this look cute. It was hideous. You know what I think it is? I think that Ashley is cheap. I think that she doesn't want to spend money on a stylist and some nice pieces. Hence why we keep seeing these hideous outfits. Askale killed it. I mean, Askale has been getting straight A's in the fashion department. Mama knows what time it is. She is giving what the girls were supposed to have gave. And I'm going to keep advocating for Askale to be a full-time housewife come next season. Gizelle starts ordering food for the table, and baby, here's where things start going left. Candiace brings up how there are some people missing at the table, meaning Wendy and Karen aren't there. Candiace goes on to say, I thought that you were willing to move forward with Wendy. Gizelle goes on to say how she hasn't heard from Wendy, and because she hasn't heard from Wendy, that a private conversation is off the table. So now Askale jumps in and says, I was talking to Wendy prior to the trip, and she used to speak so highly of you, Gizelle. Gizelle says, well, because she used to speak so highly of me, then she should have known that I wasn't being shady. And again, Gizelle, you refuse to take accountability. If that is your friend, you need to be the one to address your friend one-on-one and say, hey girl, I heard these rumors are floating around. I don't believe them, but they're out there. You know, what do you think about it? But for you to sit up there and talk about it with Robyn and Ashley and then have Ashley do your dirty work, you were dead ass wrong. So now Robyn finally gets there. Gizelle brings up the Wendy stuff to Robyn. And then Candiace goes on to ask Robyn, I thought that you and Wendy were cool because it seemed like you made up at the dinner. Robyn goes on to say how even though Wendy apologized for bashing her relationship, she still felt like she was getting a condescending, snarky reporter instead of a girlfriend. She goes on to say how she thought that Wendy and her were friends, but clearly not. Refresh my memory, but I don't really remember Robyn apologizing for the things that she said to people over the seasons. Robyn has been really snarky. She's been really rude at times. And I don't remember hearing an I'm sorry out of her mouth. But now she wants somebody to apologize to her and kiss her feet because someone said something about her messed up relationship with Juan. And like I've said in past recaps, when it comes to Robyn and Gizelle, they can dish it out, but they can't take it. So now Gizelle turns to Ashley and she's like, Ashley, I'm gonna need you to keep it real with me. Did you add some extra hot sauce to what I told you? Because the way she blew up at me, it feels like you told her something else. So Ashley's like, I swear to goodness, I didn't add anything extra. I just said, you know, here are the rumors, and are you and Eddie trying to reinvigorate your sex life? Now here comes my girl Askale saying, Ashley, with you asking that question, you were kind of insinuating that those rumors were true. I said, Askale, this is why I'm here for you. Askale is not here for the BS. And that's the other issue that I've been having with Gizelle, Robyn, and Ashley. For y'all to keep talking about the rumors and then saying, well, I wonder if that's the reason why she changed her body and did all this and acting all funny. That is somewhat implying that you suspect that the rumors could be true then, right? Because if you did not believe that the rumors were true, you would just say, oh, there's some rumors going around. I don't believe it. The end. Ashley goes on to say, look, I know when I'm being messy, I own my messiness, but this time, that's not what I was doing. So y'all already know that Candiace is sitting there shaking her head and she's like, absolutely not. Candiace says in her confessional, like, you filthy milkmaid, you drove up 4 hours to serve some mess on my trip. Like, I'm not buying what you're trying to sell. Candiace says something to the effect of, like, this hoe right here. Ashley's like, I'm a hoe now? Is that what we're doing? I'm a hoe? Like, really? Candiace says, yup, I called you a hoe because I felt like calling you a hoe, okay? So now Candiace goes off and she's like, you brought your wide body to stir up some mess and leave. So now Ashley's like, I'm wide? Is that what we're doing now? Like, you're body shaming me? And so Candiace starts talking about her wide face and her big forehead. Let's just back up for a minute and let me tell you how I feel about this whole dinner scene with Candiace and Ashley. I don't like Ashley. You guys know that. If you're a new subscriber, welcome. But I cannot stand Ashley. I think that she's a vile person, okay? With all that being said, I didn't like how Candiace handled this whole thing. Candiace has got to learn how to navigate around a person that she does not like in a calmer manner. All Candiace had to say was, Ashley, I just feel like you were starting up mess on my trip. You came for a few hours, dropped a bomb, and then left, and then I don't appreciate that. For Candiace to jump out the gate with a raised voice, calling her wide, and the wide read fell flat because Ashley isn't wide, and even if Ashley were wide, what would that have to do with the situation at hand? The fact that Candiace is already viewed as reactive, she's viewed as a brat, and she's also viewed as immature, she didn't help her case when she jumped out insulting Ashley, name-calling, saying, you got a wide face and a big forehead. I understand that Candiace doesn't like Ashley. I understand that she's just so fed up with all that Ashley does. I get it. But when it comes to dealing with Ashley, you need to be strategic. There is a way to do everything. I was really irritated because, once again, Candiace now looks like the bad guy and Ashley looks like the saint. You already know that Ashley gets a pass, so therefore it would be better to keep a cooler head and to address her in a different way. I just felt like, Candiace, I wish you would have handled this in a better way. Y'all, that was the episode. Next week's episode looks good. I can't wait to see it. You already know what to do. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you all later. Bye.